We got another presentation with a topic of Vienna's 5G strategy. Please welcome Mr. Robert Pataki, Principal Arthur D. Little.
I've been asked to discuss about 5G, but in the morning I've seen some of the discussions mostly relevant to infrastructure development on 5G. I have been hearing less of the use cases or how we're going to use this really. And what I thought today to bring you with a true example that we are helping in one city in Europe called Vienna, capital of Austria. They are taking a totally different role and how they want to utilize 5G for themselves. Before going into the specifics, I just want to highlight a couple of points why cities are taking actually all over the world a different role as we speak. We all know we are living in major cities, that there are a tremendous number of challenges that we face. Population is one, increasing population, which will be creating demand for healthcare, which will be asking for transportation solution, which we have never seen before. Also, we live even in Dubai and in other major cities where we still feel that the technology adaptation is slow. Connectivity, speed-wise, is not there yet. That's a challenge from a city point of view because businesses will select those areas, those locations, geolocations, where these speeds and connectivity is given. And third, of course, the whole notion of cybersecurity and even offline crime is a point that we need to discuss when we are talking about cities facing with challenges. Now, is there an answer from 5G having, or for cities with 5G having, playing a different role? I would say yes. And what they do is that they move on. They are not only passive players anymore in an infrastructure game and an infrastructure discussion. We've seen that many cities taking a very strong state on platforms, creating frameworks, and talking to MNOs to do something different than it used to be on 4G and 3G, just to provide the network in my city, and that's it. And even some of the examples, and particularly Vienna, is taking even a further step, shaping this discussion. They are not waiting for MNOs. They are not waiting for regulators what 5G means. They want to be part of it. Because if they are part of it, this is the technology that provides them with the features, the actual capability to develop these service layers that will address some of these challenges that I talked about. So what they need, two things. One, infrastructure, and the other one is use case or actual service which will be used by citizens, which will be used, not being developed as a test bed or a pilot, which will be taking a true efficiency or a true customer experience journey improvement in the hands of the citizens. First of all, infrastructure. They can own infrastructure. We know a couple of cities in Europe and in the States, they have their own spectra. They use their own spectrum to build their own 5G networks. It's very similar to campus network that has been discussed in hospitality, in hotels, or in stadiums, but in a larger scale. As well as some of the cities are taking true partnerships with the MNOs or telcos who are licensed with these spectrums. Now this is crucial, that they are being part much more proactive, much more active than in the past. There's another notion that we also identified, and I think this is coming even more into different regions globally, that MNOs will be facing with neutral, as we call it, host operators, and neutral infrastructure providers for the cities. I've been part of, and I'll come to that in Vienna, in a discussion in the city council, where we have been inviting all MNOs to bid for 5G enablement in different districts of the city, but using a dedicated neutral host operator, which the city was subsidizing and putting money behind. So what is Vienna true story? First of all, as I said, they decided that in some districts they're going to use their own spectra. In some districts, they're going to have a partnership model with the MNOs. This is how they secured 5G spectra. The second is that they have run a full analysis on every single use case that's been presented in the last 1 or 2 years. We have been talking about smart cities now for about 5 years, and 5G about 18 months at least, and bringing all these use cases. So they took all of them, and they spent 2.5 months just to study of what are these use cases and how they are relevant to their challenges in their particular market in Vienna. These are all familiar to you. They have been talking about public transportation, healthcare, utilities, tourism, you name it. But finally, they come up with top 4 areas which they want to do. Nothing less, nothing more. They want to have connected ambulance and telemedicine, which means a full journey of the patient in Vienna. Whatever happens to you, whenever it happens to you, it will be fully covered with applications providing information not only to you, to the doctors, and to the hospitals. Second is education. They moved down VR and AI from the discussions of the college and university level down to elementary schools. In each and every single elementary school in Vienna, there is a currently under development a VR theme, which will be part of the curriculum. Third is public safety. Surveillance cameras are all over. We all know that. I think I have heard that once that the most is actually here in Dubai. By the time you get from home to office, you'll be under 13 cameras on average. Now, this is not the case in Vienna, but the point on the surveillance is that they're using this not only for the authorities, but they are data mining it and giving that to the tourism in order to improve what Vienna is about, and this is what they are very much focused on when they say smart city. It's not, for them, is not a buzzword. For them, is an enabler to maintain their position as one of the top cities around the world where people want to live. Probably you know, best place to live is always starting Singapore, Seattle, Vienna, and Stockholm. These are the cities where people want to live. This is where they appreciate what the city is giving as services and how they do their day-to-day. And the fourth one is autonomous driving, which is, we all know, that's been discussed many times. There is one district, at the 21st district in Vienna, where they have introduced now the autonomous bus. And everybody is using that. Public transport, free of charge, to use it, hop on it, hop off, and test how it goes. Now, these are the top 4 priorities. None of these are finished. They're working on them. But what they did with 5G is actually, they translated that to a campaign which goes like Vienna goes 5G. And this campaign is asking anybody only in these 4 verticals to come up with ideas, but the idea is not enough. Vienna is one of the central hubs for startups in Europe. But they're not looking for startups. They're looking for conglomerates, MNOs, telco partners, infrastructure providers, startups, as well as anybody else who is vital to make this deployment. Up for grant, in each of these verticals, they are nominating 100,000 euros when they select the winner. This is ongoing. I have seen some of the great examples of what they want. Good competition, and from 15th of January, they have 2.5 months in order to launch and deploy these service layers on 5G for the city of Vienna, once again, in those 4 verticals. That's, to me, a true case as really what needs to happen when we are talking about 5G as an enabler. 5G, from a commercialization point of view, is one thing. But also, from a living standard improvement, from a community point of view, and from cities, smart cities point of view, is much more, and this is where city councils, mayors will take even further, stronger role to shape it and take real part in order to engage and implement further in the coming years. And the final note, this has been recognized in Europe. We are in discussion with Copenhagen, Stockholm, and Munich to do the same thing, push this, because otherwise cities will be still in the hands, whatever hand it is, in the hands of the MNOs in terms of 5G implementation. So thank you so much for inviting and listening to this case. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.